by Dr. Hussein from the Islamic faith, and then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Hartley.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين لنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. In the name of Allah, the merciful and the compassionate, all praises and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of mankind, the most gracious, the most merciful. You alone, Allah, we worship, and you alone, Allah, we ask for help. Guide us to the straight path. Dear Council, peace and God's mercy and blessing be upon you. Allah, the Mighty, says in the Holy Book, وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَ اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Tell them to work. Soon Allah will observe your work, and His messenger and the believers. The Prophet has said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمِلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَن يُتْقِنَهُ. The Prophet has said, Allah will be pleased with those who put perfection and equality into their work. It is as if good work is looked upon as a way to glory God. إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. Actions are done by intention. Thus, each individual will be rewarded by according to what they intended. May Allah bless the Cedar City Council and give them the courage and the strength to lead the community and lead us on the path best for all its citizens. May Allah guide them on the path that brings prosperity to the community and allow us to grow successfully together. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we would like to make some changes to the published agenda. We would start with our Youth Volunteer Corps. With it being spring break and everything, they are not going to be able to come tonight, just so you know. We would like to remove item number 1 from the agenda at this time. And then item number 4, 5, 6, and 7, we would like to move to the end of the agenda after number 10. Are there any questions, any other items that the council would like changed from the published agenda? And if not, can I get a motion based on those recommendations?
Motion to approve the agenda as described, that we would amend it.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we will now have council business. If there is any. Oh, this is going to go real. Okay, then I have a couple items to bring up with you. Remember, tonight is the Rural Legislators Tour, and they will be, so I think this is the only city they're actually staying in while they're on this tour, which is a great thing. Tomorrow at 9:30 is the program and ribbon cutting for the new Deseret Industries building, and the store officially opens at 10. The April 27th is at 11 a.m. is the groundbreaking for the SU business building. April 28th, which is next Friday, is SU's graduation. And then I sent you an email just a second ago, but May 8th and 9th, which is a Monday and Tuesday, that's when we would like to schedule our budget meetings for the department heads to come in and present their budgets to the council. You look like panicked.
It will be adjustable. We were going to go out and scout out an ice skating rink in Vernal on the 9th, but we will do it on some other day.
I will actually be out of town on the 8th.
Okay. Then shoot me an email back and we'll see if there's a different day or something that we need to change around. And
Okay.
at least now we have a starting point for dates. We just
Okay.
need to get it done
Okay.
around that time. It looks like the budget will come before council on, I think, the 3rd of May. And so we try to get that done so we can hear all that before you have to approve the tentative budget and everything.
The 3rd of May or
3rd of
June?
June.
The 3rd of May. So that's when the council would just get the budget. Basically, all Jason does in that meeting is hand you
Oh,
the
it's just
budget.
present it. Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Then we have
Okay.
the meeting where all the department heads can come and we do that for 2
Okay.
days. Then we have our public hearing and adopt the tentative budget. Then we have everything for the public hearing for the final budget. Then we adopt the final budget between May and June. All righty. And as kind of an exciting one, today was the 20th anniversary from when Smead Manufacturing opened here in Cedar. And they had a great program. The owners of the company were out here, and it was really neat to see that over the past 20 years that they've had that business up and running and the great things they've done and how they've contributed to our community. So
It
anyways.
seemed like that long ago.
that is for our council mayor business. So now we will move to staff comments. We'll start with Chief Phillips.
Sorry, bud.
Oh, you're okay. Mike Phillips, Fire Department. Next week's our annual Life Safety House Week. I gave you guys a handout for that. We have all the second graders from Iron County coming through the fire station, about 756 of them. So it's a fun week. Tyler, you should come down. It's exciting. Anyway, thank you.
It's really exciting till the kid you bring starts to cry. That was my nephew one year. Mhm. Are there other, Kit?
A couple things. Tonight we're going to be finishing the asphalt in front of Lynn's. They'll be rotomilling it starting at midnight, and in the morning about 5 o'clock, the asphalt crews will be in there to finally complete that project. Got a black eye on that project last year, but fortunately, it's not on the crew so this year. So hopefully I'll survive. But anyhow, the other item I wanted to bring up is we were looking at the fans that they were going to put in out at the warm-up barn a week or so ago. And as we was looking at those, we found that the electrical system out there is pretty much at capacity. That in order to put those fans in, we're going to have to do some upgrades on that electrical system. And then we got looking at what all that electrical system was for. And most of it's for the lighting in the facility. And we took a closer look at that lighting, and there's 128 metal halide lights that's lit with. So I made a couple of calls to Rocky Mountain Power and some lighting engineers to see how much we would save on changing those lights out to LEDs. And there's probably a 40% savings in both the maintenance and the operation costs to do that. So that might be another item. We haven't put it in on the budget yet, but that definitely is going to have an economic incentive to do that. And we're going to try to get that in on your budget. And so that save a lot of power costs out there, but it'll also make room on the power system to install those fans without a lot of extra costs. So just wanted to let you know that. So
See all the exciting things you're going to have coming before you?
That's right.
Thank you for that, Kit. There-
Nothing more compelling and fun than budget time.
Nope, nothing. Are there any other staff comments? Okay, then we will move on to our public agenda with our public comment portion. This is a chance if there's anyone that would like to address the council. Now is your opportunity.
I'll be real quick. Good afternoon. Nice to see everybody this evening. I made note
You
that
still
Tyler.
haven't said your name.
Excuse me, Tom Jett. It's an old person thing. I'd like to just piggyback on what Kit was saying about the LED lights. We've been doing some research at a property that we have, and to give you that may have an interest, an idea, a 400 watt metal halide light, which is a pretty large and state of the art back in the mid 2000s, state of the art. There are 400 watts. The equivalent amount of luminance that are generated or light power generated is 100 watts. Is what it operates on for the equivalent amount of luminance. So there's a 75% savings in power operating those, and there's also approximately a 30% Rocky Mountain Power rebate, not a credit, but a rebate on those lights going on right now. So Kit's onto something has some incredible returns, because it's not if it happens in the future, it's going to be when it's going to be mandated to happen in the future, because we won't be able to replace the metal halide in the future anyway.
Is there some term to that rebate arrangement?
They've had that for a long time. We've of course changed a lot of our street lights out to LEDs, and it used to be a pretty significant incentive. They don't call it a rebate; they call it a payment incentive to go to LEDs, and it's got a little bit less, but it's still in place, and we're going to apply for that as part of this project. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. If you'd like to come up, just make sure you state your name or I'll have to stop.
My name is Dr. Howard Mays. I'm here representing the Iron County Sheriff's Department Search and Rescue. I hope this is the right time to bring this up. We're just want to see if we can use the city property that's just north of the Elks Lodge on 100 East for a fundraiser carnival. We've done this in the past 3 years, is my understanding. And if at all possible, we'd like to get water hookup with this. The carnival runs from May 18th to 20, but they'd most likely want to start setting up Monday or Tuesday. So that would be 15th, 16th.
Because this will all go into, then are you going to request kind of your fee waiver for that area as well?
I believe so.
Okay, then can we do that? That's item number 3 on the agenda.
Oh, all right.
So then we'll do it that way. The council can ask questions and all of that during that time.
Well, I won't have a whole lot of answers. I was just asked to come up here and do this, and I've not done it before. I haven't been involved with it before, so I may not have a lot of answers for you.
Okay.
All right, but I'll come back up.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Are there any other public comments? No? Okay, then we will move on to our business agenda with our public portion first. We'll start with item number 2, consider vicinity plan for the townhomes on 300 West PUD.
Heath Ovison.
Hey,
Go
good to
Civil.
see you.
I was
You
gonna
got your
beat you to
name.
it. Did you
I'm
see
so
that?
proud.
Well, I actually remembered my name today. Just abnormal. So this is a little piece of property over on 300 West. If you look at our vicinity plot, you'll find Highway 56, 200 North. This is, this is Rolling Rubber, I think, right there. And we're just a couple of houses up from there on 300. Okay. It's an existing little piece right there on the right-hand side. The old railroad property is over here on this side. I think there's 2 houses on the south. And what they'd like to do is come in and build 3 triplexes on this property. These 3 and these 3 will each have garages in the front. There's some exterior parking for these other units here. Trash receptacle back here. And because of the size of this, we have to do it as a planned unit development. So. Kid's going to fly us there in his helicopter. Yep. That's the That's rolling rubber right there. We're just north of that, right here on this little piece of property. There's an existing house and a garage there. It'll all be raised.
They'll be taken out.
Yes, sir. And that used to be the railroad there on that side. There's an irrigation ditch on the railroad property side there. We've been speaking with the irrigation company about that.
Just went through planning commission, received a positive recommendation from them. So,
Yep.
no issues.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments from the council? No?
These are townhouses in that PUD, by the way.
Okay.
Is there going to be sold, not rented, right?
Correct.
What-
Correct. In townhouses allows each member of the council to buy their individual unit there and own it separately. There'll be common area.
That would be an
Center.
illegal meeting if they all bought.
If they all bought, what if only 2/3 of them bought?
Still illegal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can't have it that close together.
Well, I'm
Alright.
not here to try and sell you real estate, so I think we're safe.
Okay, then this will go on our consent agenda for next time.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll do item number 3, consider fee waiver for the Iron County Search and Rescue. So now if you want to come back up and
I'll bring a notebook in case I need to pass along any.
we're going to have you say your name again.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Name is Dr. Howard Mays, here representing Iron County Sheriff's Search and Rescue. And again, do you want me to tell you what this is again?
Yeah.
So it's your annual fundraiser and you've used that.
We've used the area before, is my understanding, the past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, for the carnival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have a couple answers.
Did you have water hookup before?
I don't know if we did. It was my understanding, just in a brief conversation we had, that we did have water hookup before, and
They
we
did.
want to see if we can again.
Cities waived that in the past.
I couldn't remember if they were hooked to our water or to the Elks Lodge or something. That's what I couldn't remember.
Okay. I can find out and pass along to you if you need me to.
But
And just so the council knows, this will be set for a public hearing next week as well, where it would deal with fees and all of that. So if there are, yes, this is. Oh, all right. Did you hear that part? So
We
you would want to use the property
Correct?
with no charge, plus have the water hookup
Yes.
and have your business license fee waived.
Correct.
And then business license is $300 a day. So that one is the things to,
So have we waived fees on this in the past?
That's my understanding, from talking with Mr. Bittman.
Was that prior to or after our ordinance that we passed, that we wouldn't waive fees? Do you know?
we waived it last year where they help our police department. We kind of did it under that caveat of they're assisting our departments and they're working together that way is the reason why the council had decided in the past to
It's
waive
more of a
any
trade.
fees because the policy
Okay.
and how our routine has been is we don't waive fees for anything.
I'm just curious where we're getting the water from. That's something I don't recollect. Does
Yeah.
anybody?
That's why I was thinking where it's totally unimproved, where would they?
There's no water meter on that property, is it? I know it's city property, but
You're gonna have to come up and you're gonna have to state your name.
to a fire hydrant? Is that,
Brian Dangerfield, Leisure Services. I'm just guessing, but like what we did for the tour of Utah is we had a fire hydrant and got a meter from the Public Works Department and that metered the water that was used. That's the only source of water I can think of for that
That's,
piece of
that's what I was
property.
trying to think. Have they done that in the past, Chief Phillips? You know, that was a new one to me, the water. I didn't,
Mike Phillips, I'm not sure if they've hooked up to the hydrant,
The
but
hydrant?
we've had that in the past. It's the same water you drink going through that line. They just put a meter on it.
yeah, I didn't understand
I can text Robbie and see if he remembers. He'd probably be the best one to ask.
I was just curious because I couldn't remember. I think one year they mentioned something about the Elks Lodge letting you tap into a hose or something over there,
I recall that is correct.
but I'm not sure. I've been around a
So
while.
some of those, we hopefully will have the answers to that
Anyway,
by-
that was
for next week
yeah.
when we have our public hearing as well.
Okay.
Are there any additional questions at this time?
What did you say the dates were?
18th, let me make sure. May 18th through the 20th, and they'd like to start setting up on Monday or Tuesday. So I'm guessing that's around the 15th, 14th.
Okay.
And I'd be more than happy to come back next week and answer whatever questions of usage in the past so that we've done.
That would be great if you're here for when we have the public hearing. That meeting, next week we'll go back to our meetings normally at 5:30 and all of that.
Okay.
And then we'll have our other two council members and also the public can comment at that time as well.
Okay, great. It'll probably be someone other than myself. They'll have a lot more information than I do. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, and
you.
thank you for being here. Okay, so that will go on our action agenda. Okay, now we will move down to the staff item number 8, review bids for LED streetlight retrofit phase 1 project.
Trevor McDonald, City Engineering. Lately, we have been taking on a number of projects to increase efficiency and to help boost productivity or save costs or a combination of the both. One of which is the project before you today, retrofitting our residential. They are the black post top, look like a gas lantern. In the lighting industry, they call them town and country style lamps, but those black street lights found in residential areas. Bids were received, and in your packet there, we had 3 responders: Marshall Evans, Barney Brothers, and Yesco. Marshall Evans was the low bid to retrofit all of our residential streetlights to LED. Their bid came in at $63,769.85. That is under our estimated budget. The project budget is $110,000. Because this is an efficiency, we're looking at savings. The energy savings we estimate on this is around $14,000, and the maintenance is about the same. So we're looking at roughly just under $30,000 a year in savings, and the WattSmart incentive on top of that is about $14,000 as well. So
Much in savings?
$14,000, well, $30,000 a year plus the WattSmart incentive.
Wow, that's great.
How many lights, Trevor?
645 lamps will be retrofitted.
I'm just cautious when I see a budget for 110 and a spread in bids between 63,000 and 85,000. I don't know. I presume they know what they're getting themselves into, and we feel confident that they'll do the right job for that, but I don't know.
We did put some thought to it. Marshall and Evans currently maintains our street lights on a blanket contract here, so they are very familiar with what they are up against.
Okay, because that was going to be my question, is if we've done business with them before.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Okay. And then depending on, Trevor and I were talking, depending on how this all goes, and then this is phase 1 and we'll look at doing additional phases in the future.
Marshall Evans did a similar job for us out at the treatment plant when we changed all that lighting out to LED.
Okay.
We
So we
don't
get-
anticipate any any major issues. It's fairly straightforward. It's an easy project with engineering, from the engineering perspective at least. And we're looking forward, like the mayor said, to do the rest of our streetlights, all of them, hopefully. I think we have 1,400, just over 1,400 streetlights throughout the city. So
That's 1,400.
Streetlights.
In addition to the
no,
600?
total.
Oh, total, okay. Thank
So
you.
that's about.
So this is a pretty big chunk.
So, all right. Are we good with this going on the consent agenda for next time?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number
Trevor.
9, consider an ordinance amending various sections of chapter 23, which are no longer in compliance with Utah state law.
So I believe this was September, October last year. We had an owner or a restaurant that came in applying for an alcohol license, and I think Councilman Hartley saw that they weren't American citizens, in which our ordinance required. So that kind of spurred this, and we started looking into it. We sent it up to the state legislator, and they amended the law, just requiring proof of legally able to be in the United States. So that was kind of the first thing that we started changing on this ordinance. Then when the governor also signed this into law, there were various changes of code section, and just basically changing it, language staying the same, but changing the code number. So we went through and amended that. And then the other main point is the very first section that was listed here. It's section E. So as Ms. Savage goes through and renews these business licenses, the time that they're allowed to do it is so spread out that she feels a lot of people forget about it, put the notice to the side, and then they end up incurring these late fees. So we wanted to shorten that up a bit, hopefully giving them less time to put this aside and saving them money and saving us time and paper and everything that we have to do to kind of track that.
All right, are there, and both of our local, both Senator Vickers and Representative Westwood, when we talked to them, made sure that this was included and went through our session. So this was the item that we'd been talking about a while ago, trying to get them to run through the legislative session. So are there additional questions? If not, this will go on the action agenda.
Yep.
Okay. Consider approval of a resolution adopting the FEMA 5-county multi-jurisdictional national hazardous mitigation plan 2017 through 2021.
So I believe it's every 4 years FEMA comes out with a new mitigation plan for different counties to hopefully approve. Purpose of the mitigation plan is to give us some planning tools and education to mitigate any risks that our specific county may confront. So I believe this one covers drought and flood, radon gas, a few earthquakes, soil conditions. Anyway, so the purpose of this is really just to give the county a heads up of where we should be going. And a lot of these things that they've identified, Kit and other city employees are well on their way of accomplishing. So this is just a formalized resolution. If we approve it, this also makes us eligible to receive FEMA funding in case there ever is an emergency situation.
But FEMA's the actual one that develops that for us. They
Well-
identify it, or
Well,
who,
with
who identifies?
I believe 5 county
County
is the one
does
who
it.
identifies it, puts together the
Okay.
plan, FEMA approves it.
Okay, all right.
But for FEMA for you to be eligible for the FEMA funds, you have to have adopted one of these plans.
Okay.
Yes, it's that giant circle of,
Tyler did an admirable job
Yeah.
of summarizing 337 pages.
Yes.
Great late night reading material.
so are there other questions? And if not, this will go on our action agenda where it's resolution.
Just let me ask Chief Phillips one, did you look at that when you were doing that for the mitigation fire before? Is there anything that's different on that? I was going to call you.
Mike Phillips, this is a different program.
Totally.
It still
but-
covers like catastrophic wildfires
Right.
in that, but the CAT fire program with the state of Utah is different from this FEMA one.
Okay. So there's nothing that
Nope.
works. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other comments or questions? You can go back and read all 300 pages of it
That's
again.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're struggling to sleep, I highly recommend
That
it.
was some good material for that.
Okay, well, now we'll go back to our business agenda public portion with item number 4. It's a public hearing to consider disconnecting property located in the West Valley subdivision.
My name is Keith Christensen. We have requested to be disconnected from the city and have those lots that are in the city turned back to the county. This lot here in particular, these lots right here are all in the county. All this is county except for this portion here. And this lot, the owner of that lot requested, he is also the owner of this property. He requested to remain in the city. The rest of us these lots have requested to be taken back into the county. The owner of these lots has been legally notified and has not replied. I will say that Preston Nelson, the owner of this portion here, initially didn't care if we got him out or not. Then he came back and said he wanted to stay in because at some point in the future, when the city, or if the city extends this water line down, he can develop this property into subdivision and have that option to be on the city water lines. Myself, in the short term, I don't see it happening, but in the long term, I would see that if this is passed and we are returned to the county, I see at some point in the distant future that this whole area would be re-annexed back into the city, but I don't see that happening anytime, real soon. Anything going on down here that would create that.
But in the meantime, you save having to do curb and gutter and sidewalk. And
Yeah, myself,
you
my
develop the property.
immediate plans are just to build a barn, 6-8 horse barn, and have some pasture and a place to ride the horse. And I really don't want to have to put the $40,000 or $50,000 into street and everything like that to accommodate that on a building permit.
Can I ask where this is?
Yeah, I was going to ask Kit if he could pull it up. I had a hard time trying to decide where it was and if it created any kind of islands or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
We just, Tyler can answer the island
I was all
question. He was
lost.
just barely talking about that. Do you want to provide that one?
So it doesn't create an island. It does create kind of a weird lollipop shaped appendage on that boundary line.
More of a peninsula.
Yeah. But technically, there's no island created.
Yeah. This is the area right here that
This
we're
is all
requesting.
semantics, folks.
This is Equestrian Point here, the
One
northwest
of them
corner of
caused
Equestrian
problems with the
Point.
state, one doesn't.
With what?
I understand that.
The island issue, but this,
But this
doesn't apply.
peninsula is okay.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It used to be regulated, but now
Leave it to the
not
attorneys.
addressed in code anymore.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So the code to do this requires notification. It requires, I believe it was 50% of the property owners to approve. In this case, all the property owners are in agreement. Notice requirements have been met. I have the land description that I need to put the ordinance together. So on the legal side, it's fine to do this.
We would miss you not being in the city.
I currently live in the city and I love it, but out there, really one of my things also is the continuity of appearance. Because like I say, if this guy builds a house, you'd have curb and gutter developed to here and stop. My son who owns this lot wants to build a house as soon as possible. You'd have curb and gutter there to stop. And then if Matt Liston or myself or Justin Robinson down here don't, then you don't have curb and gutter. But if, say, Justin did, you'd have curb and gutter there. You can have these broken up areas of curb and gutter and then none. And then also the continuity of service. I don't know how you guys work that out with the county, but the garbage pickup, the snow removal, the things like that. If we go back to the county, I think the county already takes care of that on both sides. So that wouldn't have to change. Like I said, I don't know how you guys deal with those things, but.
Are there other questions from the council? No? Okay, well, this is a public hearing. We will now open this up to the public if there was anyone that would like to speak on the matter. I know, Tim, you're just like ready to jump up and So our public hearing is now.
Startled me, you woke me up.
Oh, good. Our public hearing is now open. Seeing no one, then we will close our public hearing. And this one, does this have to go on an action?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, this will be on our action agenda for next time. Okay, thank you.
So just out of curiosity, what is the next step
So-
then next week?
Yeah, so next week is when the council actually vote on it.
Okay, so I should be here again
So
next week.
If you come next week, we'll have our other two council members where it's on the action agenda. They'll be, we'll go through each item separately. They can discuss. The other council members may or may not have additional questions for you. So, yes,
Okay, thank you very much.
thank you.
Sounds key.
Okay, our next item, item number 5, a public hearing to consider a general land use amendment for property located along the west side of 800 West from Harding Avenue to 170 North.
Good afternoon, council and city staff. Tim Watson with Watson Engineering. We are requesting a general land use and a zone change for 7 parcels of land here on 800 West. We have 200 North, Harding Avenue. These 7 parcels here have all agreed to request the general land use amendment as well as the rezoning of their properties from an R2 to a mixed use zone. Currently, we have some residential and some apartments or rentals in this area. We also have 2 homes that have in-house businesses as well. We felt that the mixed use would give them the variety that they need to all accommodate, and we tried to work with each one of them individually, and we felt that the mixed use was the best option for us. Again, that also provides a little bit of help as we transition from a highway service there on 200 North into an R3 as we get closer to the university. We still have some R2 on both sides of this development. But again, we're asking for the consideration for the mixed use in this area. And we do have signatures and agreements from all 7 property owners to agree to it.
How do the neighbors feel about it? Are they okay with it?
In the planning commission, we had one neighbor across the street that wasn't too excited about it. We had another neighbor that sits at this home right here, wondering why his home was being rezoned. Currently, Mike Schertz, his in-laws own this property, and he, their family have agreed to it. I think there was definitely some concern as far as what's going on. Again, we're trying to clean up some of that by getting all of the properties together. Again, the proximity to the college housing is playing a small role in some of this.
And the people who spoke out against it were just concerned that apartments are going in there and you'd have all kinds of parking problems. And we reassured them, at least in planning commission, that everything would have to be done in accordance with ordinances for proper number of parking spots for whatever went in there and everything else.
And it would all have to be on-site parking as well. No on-street parking.
Was the planned use for apartments, because I noticed you had an SUU like support letter. Is that what the planned use is? I guess I don't know why
I'm
we're
sure
going.
that again, this, if I can point these out, this is an apartment complex here. This home is currently rented out. This home's currently rented out. I want to say that these are the 2. This is a in-house plumbing, and then we also have, what was the other one? A massage, if I remember correctly. And so there are current rentals in that area, yes, and with the in-house. The reason, my understanding is the reason why these are in-house is because that's the only way they can actually run a business in a residential area is if it's in-house. This would also give these 2 property owners the flexibility, if they wanted to keep their business there and move somewhere else.
So they're operating there legally now. We're not changing it
We're
to
gonna do a public,
accommodate.
hey, Tom, we're gonna do a public hearing in just
Oh,
a
you
second.
are? Well,
Yeah,
okay,
there's a public
okay.
hearing. Calm down.
It won't really be anything about it.
It's
but it
okay.
is.
We'll still do it during our public
Okay.
hearing.
It was just to advise him of something.
All during a
Just,
public hearing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll just make one comment about the MU zone. It's a mixed use zone. It's fairly new zone in our zone book, but everything's allowed in that zone that's allowed in the R3 apartment zone or the commercial zones. So that's kind of what's allowed in that zone. It's pretty much everything but industrial type
If I
stuff
can
is
add
allowed
to
in that
that
zone.
as well, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if I do plan to utilize the properties for residential, I still have to meet that section of the ordinance for the parking or setbacks or whatever it is. So I still have to meet those requirements. I'm not building apartments, residential apartments with zero setbacks for a commercial zone. I still have to meet the R3 zoning on that.
So do those businesses have licenses? Do you know, Renan?
They are. I don't know.
Or I wonder if they've gone through Board of Adjustments to get in the home occupation.
They don't have to go through Board of Adjustments to have customers coming to their home. I don't know.
It's a can of worms I didn't dare open.
You saying you got, there's somebody living there as well,
Yes, yes.
living and, yeah.
The Chief Adams took my badge away, so I couldn't police that portion of it. My plastic badge, I better clarify that.
I was just curious. I
This is
knew
the badge you got at Walmart.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The one bullet he carries in his pocket.
That's a good
I-
reference.
I haven't looked at those for a while. I knew what was in there years ago, but. Okay.
Are there other comments or questions from the council about this? Okay, then we will open our public hearing on this item. So, good grief. If there is anyone that would like to address the council, now is your opportunity. Do you
Tom,
want
are
to say
you-
anything,
you wanna
Tom? Are you
speak or
good?
not?
Just advising him of a property change.
If you're going to talk, you still have to talk in the microphone and state your name.
Excuse me for being rude. I apologize. Tom Jett. I was just advising him that there had been a property owner change on a name that he had mentioned, and just so he could make sure that they were notified accordingly.
Okay,
The new property owner on that property, on that strip. Thank you.
perfect. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? This could be the quietest, 4 people we've ever had here. Okay, then we will close our public hearing and this will go on our action agenda. All right. Item number 6, public hearing to consider a zone change from R2 to MU for property located along the west side of 800 West from Harding Avenue to 170 North. Your turn again.
Tim Watson with Watson Engineering. Is there, in the last 15 seconds, is there any other comments?
Any additional thoughts?
Give us 5 more seconds. We'll come up with something.
Okay.
I can't let you off that easy.
But I always like to have you come up and,
Oh,
state your
thank
name
you.
and the whole thing. You are welcome. All right. There are no other questions. Then we will open our public hearing to consider this zone change. If there's anyone that would like to address the council, now is your chance. Okay, we will close our public hearing. This will go on our action agenda. And item number 7, a public hearing to consider annexing the subdivision ordinance related to setback requirements in R2, R3, and MU zones.
Okay, there's a provision in our PUD ordinance that right now that requires on any residential PUD that's put in the city that you have to have a 20-foot setback on each side of the building, 100 feet from the street. And that makes some pretty good sense in the lower density zones of R1 and the RE and zone, because those setbacks are similar for your neighbors there. But in the R3 area and the MU areas, it doesn't make so much sense because in those areas they can have, a minimum of a 6-foot setback on the neighbor's side setback line. So it didn't make much sense to have the neighbor that's building the PUD to have a 20-foot setback when people that live in those zones are used to those narrower setbacks. And so our proposal is in the R3 and also the R2 zone to change the side setback requirements for PUDs to 10 feet side setback on each side, 100 feet back from the street. So,
All right. Are there questions from the council related to this item? No?
I'm not understanding the 100-foot.
okay, so you got a street right, say we've got a PUD right here on this lot, and the building sits something like this. The current ordinance states that if that building's in an R3 area, you have to have a 20-foot setback from the edge of the building to the lot line for 100 feet back from the street line. So in that 100-foot area right there,
Okay.
you have to have a 20-foot. Same thing on the other side of the building.
Okay.
This proposed ordinance reduces that to 10 feet for that 100 feet back from the street line for the R1 and RE zones.
And this only applies to PUD?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And this would affect
residential PUDs.
that 300 West project too, wouldn't it? From what I remember, those
That's in an
those
R3 area,
triplexes.
so it would benefit that project would be able to go to the 10-foot setback.
Okay. Are there other questions for the council before we open our public hearing? No? Okay, then we will open our public hearing on this item. If there's anyone that would like to address the council, now is your chance. I need to have a picture of this.
No. Tim Watson. I'm coming. Okay, I'll represent Watson Engineering. I'm excited about this change. This is something that we have a project going through right now that we had to go and get a variance from the Board of Adjustments for this. And I'm extremely excited because we were in an older part of town with a little bit higher density and it changed a lot of what we wanted to do without getting that variance from the Board of Adjustments. So I'm extremely excited about this, and I would hope that you would consider this and support the engineering department and their proposal on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, is there anyone else that would like to address the council? If not, I will close the public hearing and this will go on our action agenda. And with that, can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, you get the most valuable player today.
Yeah, yeah.